everyone. Thank you for being here. Calling to order the Knox County Rules Committee for October 25th, 2023. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Jarrett.
Here.
Commissioner Oster.
Here.
Commissioner Lee. Commissioner J.
Here.
Commissioner Frazier. 4 members
Present.
present.
All right. We're on to number 2. I do have some amendments and a couple of additions. If you will please note amendments, the first amendment is to number 7. I need to include that it states Rule 1, Board of Commissioners. Also, number 9, need to include Rule 5, Committees. And then I have 2 discussion items to add after number 9. The discussion item is simply adding a word to one of the titles of Rule 5, and then also adding a discussion item of an attendance policy for rules and committees under Rule 5. Everybody got that? All right. Then we move on to the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting of April 17th and also September 1st. April was not approved. We're going to do this separately.
Motion to approve.
Second. All right, we have a motion by Jay, a second by Oster for the April 17th minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do I have a proper motion to approve the minutes from the September 1st meeting?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Jay, second by Oster to approve the September 1st meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Do we have anyone here for public forum? Any agenda items?
Hey, Mandy.
We do not. All right. Do I have any discussion and considerations of any recognitions? Do you all have anything you would like to add? Don't see any. We move on to number 6. Discussion and consideration of adding X to Knox County Ethics Policy to Rule 1, Board of Commissioners. So this was, this is one of mine. So.
What are we referring to?
Yeah.
Rule.
All right, so let's go to Rule 1, Board of Commissioners. We simply want to add X with either the Code of Ethics policy or a reference to the policy that we fall and adhere to the Knox County Code of Ethics policy. So that is simply just adding, we can either add the entire policy there, or we can add 1 or 2 sentences stating that we adhere to and abide by the Knox County Code of Ethics policy.
Which we do anyway, because we're employees of Knox County.
Right.
You're
But
just
I
putting it in there.
want it in here.
I think you just put a reference to say
We abide by Knox County Ethics Policy,
C policy,
C policy.
blah, blah, blah.
Yep. Yeah. Any other discussion about that?
Yeah.
Do we have a proper motion to include Rule 1, X, a reference to adhering?
Motion to add rule limits.
Okay.
Somebody start that already.
Yes. No.
Okay.
I'll
Motion to add section X, stating that we adhere to the Knox County ethics policy under rule 1.
Second. Great. I have a motion by Jay, a second by Dermot. Do we have all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you all very much. Moving on to number 7. Discussion consideration of Rule 1, Section I, committee referrals. And this is really just a discussion item, and to also ask this committee if we want to expand on this. There were questions recently at some of our work sessions and also our regular meetings about resolutions that were brought forward that we might like to see go back to a committee for further review or research. Example, if there's a resolution that's dealing with a particular piece of legislation, we might say as a body, a commission, we want to refer this to the legislative committee. Legislative affairs or.
Okay.
So
That's not for all, is that correct? That would just be if it comes to the full commission and we want further investigation by a specific committee.
correct.
But we can do that now.
We can, it's in our rules.
Yeah, we can just say, I think that this warrants it, and I may think it needs to go back to legislative committees for more work. You all may disagree with me, and we take a vote and it doesn't, or you guys might say, yeah, so why do we need to, if we can do that now, why do we need to put that in?
Again, I brought it forward just as a discussion item.
Oh, okay.
If we wanna take a look at it, if we wanna clarify it, or, maybe just announce that at the meeting, so if everybody would take a look at it, look on it, it's.
Rule one,
Rule one, section I.
page 2.
Says-
Committee referrals, it just says, any matter requiring consideration or study by a committee shall be referred to the appropriate committee by the commission chair. Do we wanna change any language there? Do we want it to be,
Yeah, it can
both?
both adhere to just only
the chair? Mhm.
Oh, I see. Shall be referred to the appropriate committee by the commission chair.
or by full commission.
Well, or by,
A majority
Or
vote.
majority
or
vote.
by majority vote.
I would,
I would do it or, because the chair may say, I don't see a lot of consensus, I wanna kick this thing down to somebody and get out and work on it. And I think that's appropriate in the power of the chair, but I think or by majority vote.
okay. Yes, Madam Chair, do you have a
Thank you.
comment? You have an outside comment?
Yes, you do. I was thinking this originally came about because observing some other districts and places in our state who, when they have specific subject matters, maybe it's legislative, that it's an automatic, that it goes to that committee first and is kind of vetted before it comes to the full body to vote on. So when I saw that, I was sort of thinking that might be the intent, whereas I think I'm hearing you all say that it comes to the board and then the decision is made whether to kick it back. Just a comment.
Yep, that's a very good point.
Yeah, I think if everything had to go through a committee, given how infrequently our committees meet, like we would log jam most of Knox County.
And I'm not
Fast.
suggesting everything, but just perhaps certain, everything doesn't have a committee.
Right,
That's true.
right. So do we want to expand the language a little bit, or by majority vote?
I would be comfortable with that.
I would think we have a motion on the floor.
I'll make a motion to add the words or by majority vote to the end of section I, committee referrals.
Do we need to say it? Commission? Majority vote, okay.
For
Yes.
the vote of commission.
Of commission, yes.
I always assume that Jill will turn whatever we turn into something into proper
Magic.
magic.
Yes.
So that's my motion on the floor.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Great, we have a proper motion on the floor by Jay, a second by Dorette. Do we have all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you all very much. Moving on to number,
Just do rules, and just because we're in rules, you still have to open for discussion after
oh,
do
I'm
the
so
motions.
sorry. Yes.
And then do the vote, just in
Okay.
case somebody doesn't agree with us, but.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Yes. Number 8, discussion and consideration of inclusion of Knox County Ethics Policy to Rule V to committees. So this is an ask of the same, but we include it under committees, where we just included it under Board of Commissioners. We also include it under Rule 5 committees. So it would be under commissioners not served with family members, it would be you. It would also state that boards and committees adhere to the Knox County Code of Ethics Policy.
Just B, section B, it's B or 5?
Rule 5, committees.
So,
And so we would add a section.
what page?
Well, it's not on,
Oh, I see, okay.
so you need to go to the table of contents, Rule 5, committees.
No, you did this.
And then we would add a section, you.
After T.
That would be very similar to what we added to the Board of Commissioners. Stating that boards and committees adhere to the Knox County Code of Ethics Policy.
I have a question, law department, if our boards and committees don't always have people that are employees of Knox County, can a volunteer in that board also be held to the ethics policy?
Yes, under the ethics, my interpretation has always been on the ethics policy, it applies to appointees, whether volunteer or whatever. If you're doing anything for the county, you fall under the ethics policy.
Okay. So So this,
And all this is doing is, as I understand it from the chairman, is just sticking that in there as a reminder. It's the same thing that applies as it does to the commission. And basically, although I throw this in when we talked with Kim earlier, I think commission's always been of the mind, and I think Kim may have a good idea here. Put it down in wording, but the commission's always had a mind that its committees are bound by the rules. So, I mean, you've always done that, but it's nowhere written down, so.
Right. So we just wanna get it right. Further discussion? Do I have a proper motion?
Wait, Commissioner Jay.
Yeah. Let's go.
I'll make a motion to add a new section under Rule 5, Committees, Section U, referring to the Ethics Committee.
We have a motion by Jay, a second by Oster. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. It passes as well. Moving on to number 9, discussion and consideration of Rule 5, Committee, Section K, Beer Board. Any commissioner choosing not to participate in the application process in their district cannot participate in revocation hearings. Commissioner Oster, you brought this forward. Would you like to tell us a little bit about what you're thinking?
I did. I think, I kind of feel like when you take the position as commissioner, part of your job is to be involved in the beer board. So that is given the license and also being responsible for the revocation. If you're not gonna be a part of giving the license, I'm not sure that you should be part of the punishment. And so, I really would like it to state that, if you are not participating, in either one, you are not a part of the process from the get-go. And that's not to disrespect anybody's religion, I understand it, but I just think it is not good when a commissioner won't give a beer permit, but they have no problem taking them away or giving revocation for it. So, that's kind of where I am landing on that.
I kind of concur. I feel like if you're not gonna be a part of the beer permit application process, that if there is a violation, I'm not sure that you should also be able to invoke a violation if we're not supportive of the beer permit to begin with, right? Yes.
Question. So is this just if it applies to your district or is it overall? Because I feel like if they have if someone has the option to not participate in either, we're really limiting the number of commissioners that are active voting members of the beer board.
That's correct.
I would be inclined to say you just do both. But again,
Let's look to our law director on
right,
Yeah, I mean,
there's,
I love that here.
Director Boo, what say you?
I think you can, let me come back in from an applicant's thing, and he's got something and he or she is contesting it. And I think this kind of goes to what Commissioner Oster was saying, that person refused to vote to get a permit, but they're very quick to vote to take it away. And there's something that just doesn't strike me as kosher in that, so to speak. You would still have, the only problem you would have, if you've got a couple of people that for religious grounds or whatever don't believe in doing it, you still gotta have a quorum to vote, but you also have to have a majority of the entire body. So it might cause a problem down the road, I don't know, but I understand what Commissioner Oster's saying, there's just kind of a sense of fairness in that. But
So you have to have a majority of the body, not of the body present.
that's correct.
So we would have to
Or
change
the
the
body
ordinance,
of you could change the ordinance to say
a majority of, or those present, members present.
those present.
but even if all 11 are present, well, that would,
Yeah, I'm struggling with this one because in one way I understand. I get why people decide not to do it. It's their own prerogative, but I also like when you become a commissioner, you're bound by, to uphold the Constitution of the United States, the state of Tennessee, and the Charter of Knox County. And if somebody presents something to us that is legal and within the laws that we have set and that the state sets and that we have according to our, ordinance, then you don't really have a grounds to deny somebody if they followed the law and they've gone through the process. Other than I don't like it, I think that's a weird slippery slope of like, I just don't like this one, so I'm not going to participate. But at any point, any commissioner could not show up, not say a word. There's no requirement for you to show up, for you to vote, to open your mouth, or do anything. Like, there's nothing in the code that says you have to actually participate in any law or any vote or anything. You could get elected and show up 4 years later. I mean, quite frankly. So I don't see the enforceable, like, I wonder, would you then have to keep track of like who participated? Let's say I'm Ken Joe and I come back for a violation. Is somebody going to be able to pull up? Oh, by the way, only you 6 were here and voted for this, and you 3 didn't participate. So the vote to rescind the thing is only going to be for you 6. That I don't know how muddy that gets in the logistics of it. I mean, I would rather see something on the front end that just says the beer board this is the beer board ordinance, and if you like take yourself out of the beer board if you don't want to participate.
Right,
Right.
Like
choose not to
before we get to the
participate.
committee.
right.
Just-
I'm good with that.
I don't
because
know how to do that legally.
I think
to
it's
say
up
like
front.
you have to opt out to, and then what if a commissioner says, "Sorry, I don't want to go for him, but I'm sure going to throw down the penalty." It's like,
Well, and I don't recall, and you will, or Courtney might remember too, when you've got somebody that says, they don't make the motion for the one in their district. That's
Right.
Where it comes from. And so somebody makes the motion for them, and then you vote. Does that person traditionally not vote? Or
they don't.
I think they,
They
I don't
usually
think they do.
They pass?
Is it recorded as a no vote or as a pass?
I don't think
It's not.
Not unless they say that they pass, we just
Right.
don't automatically do that.
I don't remember what they do traditionally.
It's like what you said, that there's usually they'll ask an at-large commissioner to make the motion.
But a pass is a vote. So
A
it's
pass
interesting because
is a no vote.
Is it no?
it's a no vote, but it is an actual action being taken. So it's all about the motion to approve is really what it is, because they could pass on everything, and that's actually a legislative action. It's all about who's making the motion. And honestly, like, I think we've talked about other committees and stuff, like, I think we give the district commissioner the sort of courtesy, but it
Yes.
doesn't have to be them.
Correct. It doesn't.
So, anybody, I mean, even if you were in the room, I could be like, nope, I'm making the motion, let's go for it, because you may not like that person, like, so, I don't know, this is a sticky one.
Yes.
Is this intended to apply only to that commissioner's district? If they refuse to grant, then if they are pulled out of the withdrawal process, then they're pulled out of the granting process, or did you intend for with the revocation part to be for every other district they cannot vote? Or is this just in their own district that you're speaking?
I mean, typically, that's just what we've seen is in their own district. And that's typically what Larson or Kim will take that.
So if they weren't excluded from others, only their own, then that probably could fix the quorum or the majority problem.
But that also speaks to the point you all have just made, that it doesn't go down in the record. I mean, even if they are not voting for other permit applications, which they shouldn't be, if they have any sort of moral or ethical reason not to make a motion for an application, then they surely are not voting on all of the applications, or are they? And how does that go down in the record?
we just address it on the front end of the establishment of the beer board and put something in there that says, members of the beer board shall participate in, all parts of the beer board, or shall make appointments for their district or recommendations to their district, and, be part of revocation or penalty processes. If a commissioner chooses not to participate in it, they can opt out of being part of the beer board by letter to the chair by, the end of September 1st or something like that. Like, give them the option of just saying, I don't want to participate. And if you are going to participate,
Then
it says you
participate
gotta
fully.
vote
You gotta do both.
one way or the other,
Right.
and you gotta make recommendations for your district.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, just opt out of the beer board, get your time back, and 6 or 7 of us will show up. And then we can do it while we're making that change, say the majority of members of the beer board instead of the majority of members of the commission.
Right.
It's just a board, it's just a committee,
Right.
It's not a,
It's a standing
it's a
committee.
state committee, but it's not like
A
an
full
elected
membership.
position. So
No, yeah, full membership. So.
could we do it, address it that way, and then just gives them the option out, and then it doesn't get muddy on the back end of who voted for who?
I'm completely fine with that.
Is that- Would you think that would be possible?
But I think it's working.
We would have to look at the ordinance as well.
I think it's a little wordy there.
Under the,
I'll have to, let me do a little more research on that.
Okay.
So what you're saying is they opt off the beer board altogether, right?
Yes.
well, on the front end, we wanted to say that members shall. It does say the entire Knox County Commission shall regulate the sale.
Right.
It doesn't say shall participate, but it does say shall regulate.
Yeah, it depends on how the ordinance is written, but,
Mhm.
well, it's a resolution, not an ordinance.
Right, but then you have to go to the, beverages.
I think that on the front end, being able to just essentially say, like, if you're going to serve on the beer board, you're going to participate in all portions of this beer board, which include making motions to approve or deny applications, hearing revocation or suspension, and handing out, appropriate sentences according to the beer board license. If you choose not to participate in all parts of the beer board, on September 1st, because the chair is the first elected, on September 1st, you can in writing or by voice, ask the chair to not be included in the beer board, and then the minority of the beer board will rule on issues. And you just give people an option to opt out. And maybe it doesn't go into effect until next year,
Right.
but it just gives them if I'm not doing it all, I'm out.
Right.
And it says in there, you have to do it all. You shall, whatever the
Yeah.
legality is. And I think that's a better way to, because otherwise these guys are gonna go crazy, like trying to kick her out.
Can I ask another question? This will be more because I don't pay attention to the votes that much. I just make sure, and usually it's pretty unanimous. But let's say that in the 8th district, no motion is made. Larson makes the motion to do it. Or let's take it out of the 8th district. Let's just say any other district. Do any of these commissioners that may have legitimate religious beliefs vote on all the others, or do they abstain from voting?
No, I think you're not on the beer board.
Yeah.
Unless you agree to participate in all parts of the beer board, you're just not on the beer board.
Okay.
And the beer board may be 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, 11, it may be 5 members.
Right. And then you have to change the ordinance to the majority of the other body,
Look at the ordinance.
the body or the majority of
Majority of the beer
present members.
No, it has to be a majority of the beer board membership.
board, beer board membership, not just who showed up.
Okay. And Commissioner Treasurer, with this being your agenda item, are you comfortable with that?
I am, you're gonna do some research,
Yeah, I'll see
kinda
what
how
we
we
can
wanna
do.
word it.
We've got the intertwining of the state law and
Right.
our beer ordinance. So
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
see what-
I'm comfortable with it. I think we're moving in the right direction from the spirit of what I was trying to get
So
across.
why don't we decide to bring this back to the next rules committee?
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
we'll then review the language and vote on it. Yep. That's perfect. I don't have to make any.
Nope.
action. No, all right, fantastic. And then the discussion items that I added, the first one was, this is just a simple word add, and Jill said we may not even need to do this, but I want to make you all aware, because I'm very tickety-boo. Under Rule 5, where it says committees, I just want to add committees and boards.
I don't want to give you.
I don't even think we need a motion or anything, but just to bring to everyone's attention.
So next time I
That's
can
easy.
change the rules.
That's a housekeeping item.
There you go. Okay, so then the last discussion item is an attendance policy for our boards and committees. This is something that I think we need. Some of the boards and committees within their separate rules and bylaws do address attendance. However, if we want to create a standard attendance policy that can be adopted by all rules and committees, I feel like that would be beneficial.
Do you have an example of one of the boards that has an attendance policy, just to?
I know Three Bridges just incorporated one, which again, I can work on some language for this committee and bring to the next
What's
one.
the enforcement if people don't? And just to say, you know everyone.
It does, they're removed from the board, and then whether it's appointed by commission or appointed by the mayor, then they have to make another appointment. And we talked about, there are different attendance policies out there that if you miss, two consecutive excused absences or unexcused absences, then A, B, and C happens, and it could be that you can petition, and state your case to stay on to commission or to the mayor, or, we may decide to write a policy that just says if you have 2 consecutive unexcused absences, you are removed, and the commission or the mayor reappoints to fill the unfilled term of that.
This would apply to like
All of them, like BZA,
all of
BZA, beer,
retirement.
pension retirement, the investment committee within the pension retirement, and all that stuff.
So what is excused?
Well, that's the rabbit hole I'm gonna go down to work on, to bring back to this committee. The next one, I'll have some language and some examples, and then we can kind of go from there.
I gave Commissioner Frazier an example on the 2 appointees that you put to the ethics committee. What was his name?
Mr. Gilliard?
Hilliard.
Hilliard. He is in Chicago on business for the athletic department. He called Ron and he said, "Oh, geez," he said, he's just so apologetic. He said, "I can't make that meeting next week." Now, that's an excused absence for sure. And he felt so bad about it because he just got on. And I think I think you all chose very well last night. But at any rate, that's one that we discussed with Commissioner Frazier as being clearly an excused absence.
Right.
Or it may not be, it'd be up to the commission to decide.
Is your intent that if somebody just sort of bails out or ghosts everybody or just decides not to do the job,
Tricky,
then
right?
we as the legislative body have an opportunity to
Can't do it.
make sure that
We've
the
asked
community
that.
has representation
Yes,
to fill that position.
that's the absolute intent, yes. We want those that are willing to serve to take it seriously, so that the business of the county can continue.
And that every district's represented.
Absolutely. Every sense in every corner, that's right. So I will bring that to the next rules committee. Do we have any other business? We don't see. Y'all want to schedule the next meeting?
Yes.
All right.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Let's
You
see.
wanna do it before the end of the year?
I would love to.
Like, what is it today? Is it Wednesday?
And Commissioner Lee has a conflict on Wednesday. She asked that in the future we look at other days of the week.
About the 7th of December, for elect. Just want to speak up because it's open through
That works for me.
I'm good with that.
December?
December 7th. to
Thursday,
3.
December 7th. Do you all have a time that works best for you?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock? All right, next meeting
Or
is
you said-
set.
Hold on, I have 2 schedules I gotta look at.
Okay.
Yes, do it now.
Perfect. Thursday, December 7th at 3 p.m. Here, I will check with Drusilla to make sure the conference room is available. And we'll get that notice sent out to you all with an agenda closer to time. All right, that's a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned.